The problem is that for humans, most of the time, their decisions are not made based on logic reasons, but based on emotion. 99% of my students, 99% of the people that I see who are walking this journey, they started because of this one motivator, which is pain. Pain is the number one motivator for humans, unfortunately. Let's try to change that. When will now be the right time? When will now be the right time? And of course that the answer is in the question. It's now, right? It's now. But what if you let happiness, and most importantly, meaning and purpose, be your main motivator to do this work? And if you do that, it's like you're asking the universe to give you pain to make you change. If you don't change for yourself, it's like you're waiting for the pain to arrive. Don't wait for pain to burn you to get moving. Find that purpose, connect with it, and let that be your guiding force.
Welcome back to Talk the Walk, where we explore how to walk your journey of healing, growth, and transformation with more success, ease, and joy.
I've had thousands of students go through my courses and trainings and programs, and unfortunately, the majority of them come in at their breaking point. And I would like to help you avoid having to get to your breaking point. So today, I am sharing with you the top reasons of why people join this path, of why people start doing the inner work, self-transformation, growth, healing, and how you can avoid getting to your breaking point altogether. In the past, I have talked about the different reasons why you should do this work, why it should be important for you to understand yourself, master your emotions, transform, balance your mind. However, the problem is that for humans, most of the time, their decisions are not made based on logic reasons, but based on emotion. So even though you might understand and agree with those logic reasons, you probably, or most people still probably, are not going to start doing this work. And that's for a very simple reason, that the work of changing yourself, healing, growing is uncomfortable. Sometimes it's even painful. So why bother, right? That's an emotion. Even though it makes sense, it's painful. So you're not going to do it because you make your decisions based on your feelings and emotion. And that's why today I'm going to talk about the emotional reasons why people actually join our programs, why people actually start walking this journey, start doing the inner work, start healing, start transforming, which I have learned from working with, again, thousands of students going through my programs and seeing why they're doing that and at what stage they come in. And I'm going to be sharing with you why most people let it go, why most people let it come to their breaking point, and how you can avoid that. Because I don't want you to get to your breaking point, because then you're just suffering unnecessarily. And your life is going to be much better once you start doing this work. The earliest, the better. So let's get into this. There are two main emotional motivators for people to walk this path, for people to start doing this journey of inner work. And one of them, I would say, is the one that is present 99% of the time. So one of these two motivators is the ruling one. 99% of my students, 99% of the people that I see who are walking this journey, they started because of this one motivator, which is pain. Pain is the number one motivator for humans, unfortunately. Let's try to change that, but it still is. It still is. So how does this work? It's very simple. I said that the work of changing, of healing yourself, it's challenging and sometimes even painful. So the only way that people will decide to start doing that work is when their current life, staying the same, is more painful than changing, than doing the work. So for most people, most of the time, their current life has to get more painful than the idea of doing the work. And that's when the breaking point is happening. And that's the breaking point. So how can we avoid that? There's a big problem here. So let me share it with you. The problem is that there are two pains here. There are two different kinds of pain, two different types of pain. And there is the first type of pain, which is of changing. This is the pain of change, which we're talking about here, right? When we start doing this work, changing ourselves, healing, it's challenging. Sometimes it's even painful. So that's the pain of change. That's the pain of doing something different. And the thing with the pain of change is that the pain of change is a short-term pain, because it's the moment you start doing that work, the moment you start to try to change yourself, that's when you feel the pain. It's hard, it's difficult, it's challenging, right? Sometimes you feel like you're fighting yourself, you're having inner conflict. So it's short-term, it's immediate. And that's one of the big problems, as we're going to be discussing. Now, the other type of pain is the pain of regret, which comes from doing nothing while you let things stay the same, or more likely, things get worse and worse, because what happens when you don't take care of things get worse. They don't even stay the same. And by the way, this is a double pain. It's not only the pain of regret, you also have the pain of things being worse by themselves. So you have two pains here. You have the pain of your life sucks, your inner balance is bad, okay? You're suffering. And then you have the pain of regret on top of that for not having done anything about that before. And so this pain of regret, the problem is it's a long-term pain. So doing nothing right now is going to feel more comfortable. It's not going to feel that painful for you to choose to do nothing right now. It's not. It's just doing nothing. It's easy. So in the short term, in the immediate, that decision, it's obviously better than trying to change. Because in this very short term, when you decide that, you get a reward for choosing not to do anything, which is you're comfortable. While if you were to change, you get immediate, almost punishment, some challenge and difficulty. But the problem is that this pain of regret and the pain of doing nothing, it's a long-term pain. As you let it go on and on and on, things will get worse, and then you will feel the pain, and it will be much, much bigger. It will be much, much bigger later on. So the thing is, you have to choose one of these two pains. There is not one without the other. If you don't choose one will be chosen for you. So the real question here is, which of these pains should you choose? If you have to choose one of these, if you have to have one of these, right? You either have the pain of change or you have the pain of regret. Which one should you choose? Well, let me try to help you choose the best pain possible, or the less bad. If you're watching a video right now, if you're watching this, I have on screen this graph where the vertical axis, you can see the pain, and the horizontal axis, you can see the time. So it's the evolution of pain as time goes on. And let's first draw the line of doing nothing. What's the pain of doing nothing looks like? It looks like this. So right now, at the beginning, you have that certain level of pain. And as time goes on, the pain increases and increases and increases and increases and increases, and it gets higher each time until it's higher than you can imagine. That's the pain of doing nothing. That's how it evolves. Now let's look at the pain of changing. This is how it looks like. At the beginning, the first moments, it actually increases a little bit because that's the pain of changing. That's the challenge, the discomfort of changing. But after a while, once you start actually being able to change and heal yourself, it had that little bump, but then it starts decreasing, lower each time, because you're healing and transforming the things that are causing you the pain. So, watching these two different pains, which one should you choose? Which one should you choose, right? Well, here's the problem. If you just focus on the short term, which is what most of us do. If you just focus on the short term, that's that little bit there. And here is what happens when you just focus on that short term pain. If you just focus on it, this is what you get. This is the image that you get. Very clearly, the pain of changing is bigger than the pain of doing nothing. If you just focus on that short term, you can clearly see that changing will bring you more pain than doing nothing. So, you would naturally choose, or your emotions would choose for you, the path of doing nothing, right? Because for them, it's clear. It feels less painful. Changing feels more painful, more uncomfortable. So they're going to choose doing nothing because they're just focusing on the short term. But here's the problem. Let's look now at 5 years in the future. And this is what it looks like 5 years in the future. The path of doing nothing has much higher pain, while the path of changing has much lower pain. So what's the best pain to choose from this perspective of looking into the future? Right? It would clearly be the pain of changing. So bringing all of this together, if you had a long-term vision, which is important since your life is going to be much more than just the short term, then you would of course choose the pain of changing. But there is a flaw. It's not a flaw. There's a feature of human functioning, which is it makes us focus just on the short term. Our emotions, they tend to focus just on the short term when making decisions, when making emotional decisions. And this is because, and this happens when we are in what we call the survival mode. So when emotions are in survival mode, when they make decisions, they just care about the short term, the immediate. Because you're in survival mode. You're not even thinking about your future. You're just thinking about your present, your survival right now. So the decisions that your emotions will make will be based on what will happen right now as they make that decision. Which, in the short term, it means that doing nothing is better than changing, because changing will bring you more challenge and more pain. And because your emotions are already in survival mode, because you are already stressed in life, you are already overwhelmed, you have challenges, you already have pain, you already have suffering, right? You already have suffering in your life. So your emotions are in survival mode and they're thinking, we cannot take any more suffering right now. So they're just looking at the right now. In the immediate term, the decision of changing will bring you more suffering, will bring you more pain, while the decision of doing nothing, things will stay very similar for now. So that's why, even though you might have all the logical reasons to change, to do this work, your emotions still choose to do nothing because they're in survival mode and they're just focusing on the short term. And in the short term, it makes more sense for them to do nothing. And this is why, unfortunately, most people in the world do not choose to walk this journey, to do the inner work, because it's harder to do it in the immediate panorama. And it's why most people only come when they reach what I call their breaking point. So what is the breaking point? The breaking point is precisely when you have let things stay the same. So you choose the path of doing nothing and you let things stay the same. And things don't stay the same. They get worse, as you could see in the graph. They get worse and pain goes higher and higher and higher and higher. And it goes so high to a point where you cannot even tolerate it in the short term anymore. It's too much. And that is your breaking point. That's your breaking point. So in another way of putting it is your breaking point is when the pain of staying the same actually feels bigger than the pain of changing, even in the short term. That's your breaking point, okay? Your breaking point, it's when your current pain is so high about your life that even in the short term, it feels more painful for you to let things stay the same and do nothing than to change. Okay? This is very important. This is why most people, when they join, they come motivated by pain, and it's at their breaking point, because it's finally when the pain that they feel in their life right now, short term, if they do nothing, even in the short term, it feels more painful than the idea of doing something to change. And it's unfortunately only then that people try to do the work, try to come in, try to change, try to learn how to change, try to get support. Because then they have no choice. Because then not doing that is worse even in the immediate term, because the pain is just too much. It's unbearable. And they have no choice, because breaking point, the definition of breaking point is the point where you're going to break. So at the breaking point, you either change or you break. You either change or you break. That's the meaning of the breaking point. And as I said, of course, that no one wants to break, right? No one wants to break, so people are forced to change. So that's the breaking point. And this is what happens. It's when you let things go higher and higher, you do nothing, so you let the problem stay and get worse and worse, and let your pain get higher and higher until it's literally much higher, and to continue the same right now than to change, because you just cannot stay the same. Otherwise you will break. It's literally you will break. And so what happens at this point is you're going to be forced to do the work that you could have done before, but you just didn't do because you were not in enough pain. So you have to wait to get to enough pain for pain to be strong enough to force you to change, to force you to do this work. And logically that makes no sense, but that's how emotions work. But wouldn't it be awesome to be able to avoid getting to your breaking point, avoid getting so much pain? Because think about it. Just think about this. In the end, you are going to do this work anyway. In the end, you're going to be forced to do this work anyway. Because if you don't do anything now, if you stay doing nothing, things will get worse, and eventually you'll get to your breaking point if you're not there yet, and then you will be forced to change, or you will break. So, in the end, you'll have to do that anyway. The only difference between doing it now versus waiting for your breaking point is that doing it now will help you avoid your breaking point. Will help you avoid so much unnecessary pain and suffering. Because if you start right now, okay, you will have that initial challenge, but you will immediately start reversing the causes of your current pain and suffering, and immediately start creating a much better, happier, lighter life. Immediately. And you'll get to avoid all that red path of staying the same, of things getting worse. You'll get to avoid all that suffering in your life for who knows how many years, how much time, and all the suffering, and even your breaking point, which for sure you don't want to get there. So the only difference is that doing it right now will help you avoid all of that, while choosing to wait will just give you more unnecessary suffering, and then you'll have to do it anyway. And then it's even worse, because when you get to your breaking point, okay, you are forced to change, so you have that extra, energy and motivation, because you have to do it or you'll break. And the truth is, when people come to my programs at their breaking points, they're gonna do it all. They're very focused, they're very committed, they're doing everything they can, and of course they get results. So you have that on your side. But on the other hand, ask these people. It's much harder to do this work when you are already at your breaking point, because you are so much more overwhelmed and dysregulated and stressed. So if you're not there yet, if right now it feels hard for you to actually do the work of changing, imagine how hard it will feel when you are much more overwhelmed and stressed and dysregulated and all over the place because you're at your breaking point. It's much harder. It's going to take much more effort from you. It's going to take more time, because you'll need to regulate yourself and you'll not even be in a position where you can do the work, in a state where you can do the work. So it will be harder, it will take longer, it will be more difficult. if you do it at your breaking point. So even doing the work at your breaking point is harder. Not to mention the fact that there is the very real risk of people breaking. Okay, so this is true. Unfortunately, not everyone who gets to their breaking point finds a way to change at their breaking point, and some people do break. Some people do break. And that's something that I don't want for anyone. So by avoiding your breaking point, you're also making sure that you do not risk breaking, whatever breaking would mean for you. So do think about, if you're not there yet, do think about what your breaking point will look like. What will your breaking point look like for you? And do you want to get it, and do you want to let it get that far? Or is it not infinitely wiser to start doing the work now? And if you are already at your breaking point, then you have no choice. Let's do this. It's going to be harder, but you have that motivation behind it. So people often ask me, people often ask me the following question: Philippe, when should I start doing this work? When is the right time? When is the right time for me to start? Because maybe right now it's not the right time. Maybe right now I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or I have other things going on in my life. I have other commitments. I'm stressed. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of energy or money or whatever it is. So I think maybe now is not the right time. When will the right time come, Philip? How do I know when it's the right time? Maybe if I wait a little bit, the right time will come, right? And then I can start. And here's the thing. This is very important, okay? A right time will not come if you don't start to change first. A better moment will not come if you don't start to do the work first. Because you need to do the work to get to a better moment. And people make this mistake of thinking that first they will wait for a better moment to magically arrive, and then they will start doing the work because they have a better moment. But guess what? That better moment never arises because they never start doing the work. So they're doing the path of doing nothing. And when you do nothing, you remember the graph, it just goes up and up and up. Things get worse and worse and worse. So if you're stuck waiting for a better moment, remind yourself that if you're waiting, the better moment will not come, things will just get worse. So you're going to get worse and worse moments, no better moments. The only way to get a better moment is to actually start doing the work. So you shouldn't wait for a better moment to start doing the work. You should start doing the work, and then you will create a better moment for yourself. So most people have it backwards. They think they need to wait for a better moment to be able to start. But the truth is, they need to start and then the better moment will come. A better moment will never come if they don't start. So it's not better moment and then start, it's start and then you get a better moment. That's how it is. And that's how you need to do it. So when is the right time to start? When is the right time to start? It's that famous question. If you wanted to have a big tree in your backyard today, when should you plant it? And the answer is, of course, 10 years ago. But because 10 years ago is not possible anymore, it's gone, you have to choose the best time that is available to you. Because the best time possible is gone. That was 10 years ago. So you have to choose the best time that is available to you. And that is right now. It's today. You need to plant that tree today. And it's the same for doing this work. The best time to start it would have been 10 years ago if you haven't started yet. But because that's gone, you have to choose the best time that you have available, which is now, right now, today. It's the best time that you have available. From all the times that you're going to have available for the rest of your life, today is going to be the best of all of those. If you miss today, then tomorrow will already be worse than today, but it will be better than the day after. The best time that you have available to start is right now. It's not the best time ever because that was 10 years ago, but it's the best time to start that you have available. So my question to you is, when will now be the right time? when will now be the right time? And of course that the answer is in the question. It's now, right? It's now. And the other question that people like to ask, is it now or never? Is the right time now or never? And the answer is actually it's never. It's never. Because now will never be the right time. If you're waiting for the right time, you're never going to do it. Because there will be no right time. Now will never be the right time because there will be no right time. So if you're waiting for the right time to do it, you'll never do it because the right time will never come. So what you have to do is instead you have to choose the best time that you have available, and that is now. And all of this is very beautiful. And all of this is very interesting, very powerful, very touching. But there's still probably some resistance inside you to starting now. And it makes sense because even if I'm saying all of this, and it makes sense for you, logically, for your emotions, if you're in survival mode, they are still going to choose to do nothing for now. Because in the short term, there's still that bump of pain and discomfort of choosing to change. So if you are still in survival mode, no matter what I'm saying here today, you are still going to choose to do nothing and delay this work until you get your breaking point. Only then will the pain be bigger than the pain of changing in the short term. Only then it will be big enough to force you to change, no matter what I'm saying. So this is frustrating, of course, for me, because I don't want you to get to your breaking point. I want you to start changing your life, healing now, so you can get an amazing life and you can avoid all the pain and suffering that comes from letting things stay the same and get worse. So what can I do to help you actually start changing now? Well, there are two ways that I can get you to change now. There are two ways to do that. So let me share them with you. The first way is the way that is typically most used in marketing strategies and selling and all of that. Okay, so the first way is, it's very simple. It's the following. We know that for you to change, for you to choose to change right now, your pain of doing nothing, your pain of staying the same would have to feel bigger even in the short term than the pain of changing, right? So that would be your breaking point normally. So one thing that I can do is I can try to bring you to your breaking point right now. Not in a necessarily real way, but I can try to make you feel more pain about your current life so much that it feels really big to you, even bigger than the pain of you starting to change now. So that's the first way to get you to change. And the first way is to increase the pain of doing nothing. So I could come here and I could start talking to you in a way that will make you feel really bad about the pain that you have in your life and about the pain that you'll have right now if you continue to do nothing. I can make you feel bad. I can use all kinds of psychological techniques and tricks to make you feel really bad about the current pain in your life if you do nothing. And that will probably work, but I don't believe in this way of getting you to change. Because it doesn't feel ethical to me. Because after all, I don't want to give you more pain. I want to take pain away from you. So if to get you to change, I have to give you more pain, then what am I doing? And that's why I don't believe this way of getting you to change, which is the typical way that people use, that, people trying to market and sell to you, they usually use this way. It's like they find the wound, they pour salt in the wound, they rub it with sandpaper, and then they sell the treatment, right? They increase the pain so much, they rub the wound until you feel so much pain, and then they say, okay, here's the solution. So they're just giving you more pain, so you feel forced to get their solution. And I don't think that anything justifies that, giving you more pain. There is a version of doing that I think is important, and that is just a version of helping you see the pain in your life that you're choosing to ignore. So for most of you, for most people, they're actually already in a lot of pain in their life. There's already a lot of things that are not great that they're suffering about, but most people are actively or unconsciously trying to avoid that suffering, trying to distract from it, trying to numb it, trying to not see it, not feel it. And so they're just letting their life stay the same because they're trying to avoid feeling the pain that they already have. So one thing that might be important to do is to actually help you see and feel the pain that you already have in your life, but you're just avoiding, you're just masking, you're just distracting yourself from it. Because the pain is already there. So in that case, I would not be giving you more pain, I will not be creating more pain, I will just be helping you see the pain that you're trying not to see. And that might have a place and importance, because if you don't see your pain, then you're never going to change it. So that might be important. And if I help you see your pain in your life, it might be enough that it will get you to a point where you'll actually choose to change. But still, I still don't feel that that's the best way. Because if you're choosing to avoid, hide, distract, ignore that pain in your life, then it's because you still don't feel that you have a better way out of it. You still don't feel that, even at least unconsciously, your emotions don't believe that there's a better way out of that pain, that if you try to change and heal, it will be even worse. So that's why they're hiding it and ignoring it and trying to make you distract from it, suppress it, not feel it. Otherwise, they would already be helping you change. So in that case, if I'm just making you feel more pain, if I'm just helping you and making you see the pain that you already have in your life, but it's still not enough to get you to change, then what I would have done, I would just have given you more pain. I would just have made you feel more of your pain, but without providing a solution, a way out. And that's the big difference for me. That's the big difference for me. So the best way for me to change is not to increase the pain of doing nothing. That's not the best way for me, because that is the way that people who don't know how to help you use. The better way is to actually give you a better way out of the pain. A better way out of the pain. So let me explain this to you. And I think this is very important to share. You see this graph, if you're watching the video, remember that small bump that I talked about being the initial pain of changing, where you get like a small bump, a small increase at the beginning at your level, in your level of pain, because you're starting to change. The truth is that when you're trying to change by yourself alone, without the right guidance and support, that doesn't really feel like a small bump. For your emotions, this is what it feels like. It feels like a mountain range of pain, the Himalayas of pain, right? This is what it really feels like when you're trying to do this healing, changing work alone by yourself without really knowing what you're doing, without support. It doesn't feel like a small bump of pain. It feels like a huge, gigantic mountain range of pain, the Himalayas of pain. That's what it truly feels like. So let's be fair. It makes sense that your emotions are not choosing to do that, because that's what they feel it looks like. That's what they feel about trying to go and change on your own. They feel they're just going to get lost in those mountains of pain. It's going to be much worse. So even if I try to increase the pain of doing nothing, okay? Even if I try to increase the pain of doing nothing right now, first, it might not still be enough to make you change, because it still feels smaller than trying to change on yourself. And second, even if I would make you feel so much pain right now about your current situation that you would be forced to change, but then I do not give you a valid way out, I do not help you, I do not give you a better solution out of the pain, then what I would have just done is I would have forced you to go into the Himalayas of pain. If I just give you so much pain about your doing nothing that you will get forced to change, but then I don't give you a proper solution and help and way out, then I would have just forced you to go into the Himalayas of pain, and you'd get stuck there and get also a lot of pain, and you'll not be able to change anyway because it's too much for you anyway. So in any case, I wouldn't be helping you. I'd just be giving you more pain, and that's not my goal. And that's, again, why I say that the way of increasing the pain of doing nothing, whether that is the unethical way of just trying to, rub the wound and make you feel so much pain to force you to get my solution, or the more ethical way of just helping you see the pain that there is already in your life that you're ignoring, none of those is the right way to get you to change now and avoid a breaking point, because they're still not providing a valid solution, a way out. A good way out, a positive way out. So here's the better way that I have, that I choose to get you to change now. And that is that what if instead of having to increase the pain of doing nothing, so it gets higher for you than the pain of changing in the short term, what if I could decrease the pain of changing so it gets lower for you than even not doing anything, than doing nothing, even in the short term? That changes everything, doesn't it? And that's my focus. My focus is not on increasing your current pain, but on decreasing the pain of changing. And that makes all the difference. Because it's not about giving you more pain, it's about taking pain away from you. And just taking pain away from the path that I know is better for you, which is the path of changing. And so if I can make the path of changing actually easier, better, more painful, less painful for you right now in the short term than the path of doing nothing, then you will naturally choose the path of changing, because it's the best one for you, for your emotions, even in the short term. And that's what I've decided to do. That's what I do. And the thing is, this is only possible, this second way is only possible to do for people who actually know how to help. Because I have to provide a way to make changing better, easier, less painful than not doing anything. But that's what I do. And I do that by teaching you the safest, easiest, fastest, most effective, and most enjoyable even way to heal and transform so you can thrive. And then offering you all the guidance and support that you need to do it with safety and effectiveness. And I do that here in these videos, in this podcast, in my resources, and most of all, inside our school, the Star Soul School. You can find us at starsoulschool.com. I'd love you to join us so I can help you make your journey of changing much easier, better, less painful than staying the same, and help you avoid altogether your breaking point. I'd love you to join us. And here's the thing. The way that I've done this, the way that I've built this, is not only going to make the path of changing less painful than the path of staying the same. I've actually made it enjoyable. Okay, so this is a completely other world. It's a big turning point for you. It's not even that I'm just taking away pain from your journey of choosing to do the work, to heal yourself, to transform. I'm not just making it a little bit less painful. I'm actually making it enjoyable. And you're like, what? That's possible? Yes, it is. So if it's enjoyable, you will want to do it even more. You're not just doing it because you have to, and it's the less painful option, right? You're not just choosing between a more painful and a less painful option. You're choosing between the painful option of doing nothing or the enjoyable option of changing with our guidance and support. And then it's a much better decision. And this is what I've dedicated myself to really make it possible and really a no-brainer for everyone that I can help, for everyone that I can reach, to do the work, to do the inner work, to transform themselves, to heal themselves, to grow, to thrive. I want to make it a no-brainer decision for everyone that I can reach. For you who are listening to me, who are watching this, I want to make it so obvious of a decision, because staying the same, okay, maybe right now in the near term, it's not super painful, but it is still painful. And if you were to change on your own, it would be more painful. But those two are not your only choices anymore. Now you have a third choice, which is to do the work of changing and healing with us, with our support and guidance. And that third option, it's not only less painful than changing on your own, it's not only less painful than staying the same, it's not only less painful, it's actually going to be enjoyable. We have made it enjoyable. And so I think it really becomes a no-brainer. The natural, obvious decision for you to make is to join us and to start doing this work with us if you haven't started yet, or if you have started already, to join us and do it with us, continue doing it with us, because it will make your journey much better, more enjoyable as well. And that makes me happy, because it means I have helped you avoid your breaking point. I have helped you start to build a life that is more meaningful, more beautiful, happier, peaceful, connected, authentic. I have helped you start immediately decreasing your current pain, your suffering. And I'm helping you do this journey in a better, faster, more effective, safer, and more enjoyable way. And that makes me happy. So here's what the path looks like. When you have the right support, no more bumps. You now have the right support from the beginning or from wherever you are at right now, so you can start walking that. And the moment you start walking that, your pain starts getting lower immediately. Your pain starts decreasing immediately, because that's how we made it for you. So join us. Do not let the path go back to looking like this, the Himalayas of pain. This is what it feels like. And this is what's possible when you have the right support, the right community, the right guidance, which we're here to offer you. And this graph just shows you the pain. It doesn't even show you the joy side, the side of happiness, okay, where it would be increasing because we've made it actually enjoyable. And that brings me to the last point of today, which is that there is a second motivator that you can use to actually start doing this path that is different from pain. So we have spent all this time talking about pain as the motivator because, as I said, it's the motivator for 99% of people who are walking this journey. They started, and most of the time they're continuing to walk it because they're trying to avoid that pain. They're trying to heal that pain. They're trying to have less pain in their life. But what I'm telling you is, what if instead of just focusing on pain, we would also focus on the other side, which is the joy in your life? What if your motivation would not only be to decrease the pain and suffering, but to increase the joy and the real, genuine happiness of your life, the other side? Most people do not think about this because, again, when you are in survival mode, the focus of your emotions is pain and reducing pain. They don't care much about joy and meaning and happiness. But what if you could use that? What if you let happiness, and most importantly, meaning and purpose, be your main motivator to do this work? So for 99% of people, the main motivator is pain, because most people are in survival mode. But there is another motivator, and it's a better one. Because pain is a very powerful motivator for sure. It forces you to do it, right? But it is not the best motivator, and I'm going to explain why. There's a better motivator than pain to do this work, and that better motivator is purpose. It's purpose and joy and happiness. It's a much better motivator, and I'm going to explain to you why. It's very simple. Because, look at this. Pain forces you to walk when it's burning your butt. So basically, if you let pain be your motivator, you have to wait to have enough pain for you to start walking. So you will live a life of letting pain burn you. You will live a life of waiting for pain to burn you enough for you to start changing. That's what happens when you let pain be your main motivator. And if you do that, it's like you're asking the universe to give you pain to make you change. If you don't change for yourself, it's like you're waiting for the pain to arrive. It's like you're literally asking. If you're just doing nothing and staying the same, It's like you're literally asking the universe to give you pain to force you to walk, to change, to do this work. And that's why pain is not the best motivator. The best motivator is purpose. Because with purpose, you are not waiting for anything to start moving. Because purpose is an intrinsic internal motivation. It comes from within and you're not waiting for anything. Because nothing external has to force you. It's something internal. You want to live that. You want to create that. You want to become that, whatever it is. So you start moving already. So purpose makes you move sooner. Pain makes you move later and wait until you have pain to move. Well, purpose comes from within. You don't have to wait until you have purpose. It is part of you. It is within you. So you can start moving immediately, motivated by purpose. So if you let purpose become your main motivator to do this work instead of pain, you'll start moving much earlier, much sooner, without having to wait for life to give you enough pain to move, which will not only help you avoid your breaking point for sure, it will also help you avoid much other pain in your life. All the rest of the pain that is slowly building up, it will help you avoid that. Because you're not waiting for it, you're moving, you're doing the work without waiting for it, because you're focused on your purpose. That's where you're going. You don't care about anything. And in fact, you're not even paying much attention to the pain at all. You're not even paying much attention to the pain at all. You're paying attention to the purpose side, to the joy side. And that's a totally different state. That's a growth state opposed to the survival state. So people who are living through purpose instead of living through pain, they also feel much less pain in life because they're not even focusing on the pain side. They're focusing on the purpose side. So this is not even the graph that matters for these people. And a much smaller percentage, like 1% of people who come to do this work, they are coming from the purpose side. And I can say that for me personally, in this life, it was mostly from the purpose side that I started doing it, because other than that, my life was great. So I just really wanted to live a more purpose, more meaningful life, more connected, more authentic. And that's why it made sense for me to start doing this inner work. And it doesn't have to be that for you. So still, most people come from the pain side. But what I'm telling you is, if you want to decrease the pain in your life, if you want to avoid your breaking point, if you want to move sooner, faster, and not even give much attention to the pain side, and not even give much attention and power to the pain side in your life, then the most important thing you can do, the most powerful thing you can do, is let purpose be your motivator. And of course, you can ask me, but how do I do that, Philip? And most people do not know their purpose, are not aware of that. And that will be a subject for a different episode. I'm going to be talking about how to find your purpose and how to find your purpose if you don't know what it is, if you're lost. And also, it's important to understand that part of being able to live and find your purpose is doing the work itself. So you can start with the purpose of wanting to find your purpose, and that's a purpose in itself. And at the beginning, that's a perfect purpose to get you to start walking the path without waiting for pain. It's the purpose of wanting to find and live your purpose. But for now, what I want you to understand is that if you let purpose be your main motivator rather than pain, you will have a much smoother, easier, more enjoyable journey. Not to mention less painful, but you're not even focusing on that anymore. Okay? So don't wait for pain to burn you to get moving. Find that purpose, connect with it, and let that be your guiding force. And you'll be moving sooner. You'll avoid much unnecessary pain in your life because you're not forcing the universe to give you pain to get you to change, to get you to live your life and purpose. You'll avoid your breaking point, and you'll do this journey in a much faster, better, more effective way and get to live a happy, meaningful, purposeful life, which is awesome. So purpose is associated not only with higher mental health, well-being, and self-esteem, but also physical health. And on the reverse side, the lack of purpose seems to be strongly connected to harmful conditions, disease, all kinds of disease. Okay, this has been studied by many studies now. People who have a lack of purpose seem to have higher rates of all kinds of diseases and disorders, not only mental, but also physical. And this means that the most powerful investment with the biggest return to improve your health and well-being might be to connect with and live your purpose. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Let purpose be your main motivator. Let it be your main motivator, if you can. But also don't ignore the pain side. you are also in pain. So let pain also motivate you. And right now, imagine if you could choose a third option. That would be to not only have less pain, but also have more joy from the beginning. I think that would be the obvious option. And that's what we are here to offer you. With our support and help and guidance, we offer you the path of starting to change or continuing to change if you are already doing that. But from now on, with the right guidance and support, we make it not only safer, faster, easier, and more effective, we also make it enjoyable from the beginning. And again, we have our community and we have all of our resources at starsoulschool.com, and we would love you to be part of it so we can help you walk this journey in a better, faster, easier, safer, more enjoyable way. And we can help you avoid having to get to your breaking point and also all the unnecessary suffering along the way. So thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Talk the Walk. If you enjoyed it, like us and send it to someone who you think will like it too. We love your feedback and interaction, and you're welcome to leave us a comment or review, ask a question, or just reach out. Lastly, if today's conversation stirred something in you, remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. Our Star Soul School community is where these conversations continue, where you can connect with others on similar journeys and access the courses and support designed to help you integrate this work into your daily life. You will find everything at starsoulschool.com, and the link is in the show notes. See you next time.